Hello, everyone. Welcome to Refocus on Happiness. 5 steps to re-energize spiritually and socially within days. Who this is for? This is for men and women who want to re-energize their life spiritually and socially within days after breakup, not weeks, months, or years. And who this is also for. This is for men and women who want to get their ex back by getting over their ex, as well as anyone who wants to get unstuck regardless of the reason. The way I originally developed this tool is really a tool to get yourself from pain back into power, regardless of what that emotional block is. So I just want you guys to be aware that this is a process you can use for anything in your life, anytime, where you have gotten stuck because of an emotional issue. Usually those emotions, of course, are fear, some type of pain, anger, sadness. If you find yourself stuck in those kind of emotions, this process is to get you out of there, right? Now, one thing I want to hit on right from the get-go here. Most of you, I'd say probably about half, have come here to get over their ex. You realize that that individual's probably not the best match for you. But some of you have come here because you want to get your ex back. So here's what's interesting. You still have to go about this the same way. Whether you know you need to get over your ex permanently or you want to get your ex back, the process is still actually essentially the same. And here's why. The best way to get your ex back, no question, period, is to get over your ex. Why is that? Well, we all know this one. We tend to want what we can't have. That's the first one. 2, when we have really moved on, what has happened? We have now reestablished ourselves as a prize. And we basically invite our former partner to reinitiate the chase. It's funny how that works. Once they know you've really moved on, that's when they tend to reengage you. So either way, the first step is to get over your ex. Now, again, for some people, that is the final outcome. You know that person's not good for you, but you want to get over them. You want to get your confidence back. You want to get back into dating. You want to get your financial situation back in order. So either way, it's still the same process. So a couple disclaimers here. 1, this is not manipulation. You're going to do this for you because it's in your best interest. I'm going to prove it to you today. So you're going to realize this is the path for you, regardless of what your short-term plan or agenda is, okay? You're doing this for you. And the second disclaimer is, again, a lot of you here have come because you want to get over your ex, but there are some of you here that want to get your ex back. So the vast majority of people that I work with who are truly able to implement the 5 shifts you're about to learn about in just a little bit here, when they're done, they don't even want their ex back, even if they do come back. And you'll start to see why. Okay, so in the next 45 minutes, we're going to discuss a few things. 1, we're going to discuss how to get over your ex or get unstuck within days. Remember, regardless of what your final outcome is, the first step is to get over your ex truly, okay? Now, we're going to talk about how to reinvigorate your dating and social life. For a lot of you out there who say you've gotten over your ex or you don't want them back, if that is the case, really getting over your ex is more than just getting over your ex. We're also talking about getting the confidence and energy to put yourself back out there, right? If you're still angry or sad or you don't have your confidence back, you really haven't gotten over them. So we're going to talk about how to reinvigorate your dating and social life. We're also, of course, tied with that is we're going to talk about how to get your confidence back. Now, some of you who are very consumed in their, in the painful emotions of sadness, fear, and anger, that's obviously having an effect financially on your life. So we're going to talk about how to regain financial security. Again, if we give you your energy back and we give you, that zest for life, that's simply going to give you more time to do the things ultimately that you want to do with your life. That again, not just socially, but also financially, with your business, with your job, or whatever it is that you do. And here's another important one. Now, this might not be the main reason why you came here, but it should be one of the main reasons why you came here. We're going to talk about how to reduce your stress and get your health back on track. If you're sitting, stewing in emotions of anger, sadness, and fear, I'm not trying to scare you here, but don't think for a second that over the course of the next several weeks, months, or God help you, years, don't think that's not going to have a serious negative impact on your health. Stress is one of the biggest killers out there. So if you're just sitting there all tense all day or a big part of the day, that's something you need to get handled ASAP, because over time, that is going to have a very adverse impact on your life and health. Now, of course, one of the main reasons why you are here, of course, is to get that energy back so you can push forward towards your goals and dreams. Even if you're in the midst of challenges and frustrated, I'm going to show you how you can still harness that energy so you can still move forward and not go to bed and sleep your whole life away, right? We want to get you back out there so you have the energy to push forward and really get the things going that you want to get going in your life. So here's my promise to you. My promise to you is 5 steps to re-energize spiritually and socially after a breakup. We're going to get you over your ex. Okay, that's really what we're going to do here. So first, some house rules. Okay, this is not something that just is a magic trick or a magic pill. It takes real work and incredible discipline. You got to really want it. You got to be at the point, I've had it. It stops today, not another day, not another hour. This changes now. By the way, I might curse from time to time. I'm going to try not to, but I have a lot of passion for what I do. So if I do, I hope that's okay with you guys. But look at the words I have there. That's really got to be you, because most people, when they haven't reached that relative bottom, they don't change. You have to have something really compelling. Now, we're going to talk about that because that's going to be really the foundation for you to move forward. So you got to be fully committed to being consistent and persistent at this new way of thinking. What I'm going to give you is a workout for your brain. Now, think about it. Your workout for your muscles, if you do that workout one time, you going to get any results from that? I could give you the best workout in the world. You do it one time, good luck. You're not going to get anything. So this is just like a workout in the classic sense, but of course it's a workout for your brain. I'm going to have you do some repetitions, but if you got to, do it, again, very consistently, this way over a period of time, you'll start to reap that reward. You'll develop those brain muscles, so to speak. Okay. So you can't be indecisive. You got to be very clear. You got to know your why. And we're going to talk about that in a second. You got to be clear on your vision, what you want, and why you want it. Okay. So does this sound like you? Has this emotional issue been weighing you down for months or even years, and there seems to be no end in sight? Or are you afraid that your finances are going to be in the gutter forever until you finally figure out how to move forward? Again, most of the people I speak to, there is a significant financial impact on their life. Bottom line is, if you're working throughout your day and you're kind of consumed with negative thoughts and negative feelings, you're not working at 100%. Here's another one. Do you secretly hope that you're going to magically stumble upon a book that has all the answers you're looking for? But this search has been going on for months or even years. That book doesn't exist, just so you know. Are your well-meaning friends and family draining the hell out of you, as well as themselves, with endless advice and counseling? Here's another great one. Again, conventional wisdom here. Are you trying to keep busy, but secretly that solves nothing? And has this pattern been repeating itself for a while? Years. Most people I speak to, this has been a consistent pattern in their life. And it gets to a point where you start to feel like, wow, I might be destined to be single forever, right? So does it seem like there is no end in sight to this emotional Groundhog Day of pain that you've been living? Okay? So here is the real problem. You haven't made the shifts. That's not your fault. We're going to talk about why, but this is your springboard to get to where you want to go. Because once you make them, regardless of what you're dealing with today, you will wake up feeling excited for the day. You'll stop getting that feeling of dread when you get a bill through the door, and instead love the fact that you have the energy to make your financial dreams a reality, because you're not being paralyzed with this emotional issue that you're currently dealing with. And you'll look forward to going out and meeting people again, okay? Once you make them, you'll have more energy to make more memories with your friends and family, instead of being tense and agitated the whole time, thinking about the stresses in your life, okay? Because the truth is, you might have future challenges in your life, but with this tool, this process, this practice, you'll never, ever again be paralyzed by fear or doubt. And you'll enjoy dating and be confident in who you choose to spend more time with. Now, let's talk about the other big problem, and this is massive. And at this point, by the way, you're going to want to take out a pen and paper. I'm going to have you do some writing here. If you don't do this work, then that's part of the problem. If you're not willing to sit here and focus, and by the way, if you're texting on your phone or you're multitasking, do yourself a big favor. Why don't you just give yourself the gift of loving yourself enough to focus on something to change your life, okay? So get out that pen and paper, because I'm going to have you write a few things down. This is going to give you a chance to really look in front of the mirror and be honest with yourself about your current state of affairs, a State of the Union address to yourself, of course. So here's the other big problem. You haven't quantified your why. You haven't decided that today is it. You're not going to go another day, another hour. This is it. And for you to do that, you have to quantify your why. Can't just be, I don't feel good, or I'm spending a lot of time thinking about things. That's not compelling. You have to realize really what's at stake. You need to become crystal clear on why this is a problem. First, a couple of last questions. I want you to answer this one. Do you think the decision to be in a relationship is emotional, or do you think it's logical? Think about that a second. The answer is it's emotional. There is no PowerPoint presentation in the world where you can go to your ex and say, hey, here's 5 reasons why you're going to want to reconsider getting back together with me. Here's reason 1, here's reason 2. Doesn't work like that. Relationships are emotional. They're not logical. So here's my question. I want you to write this down. Would the Brad Pitt or Angelina Jolie, the highest value of you, again, I'm just using classic Hollywood figures here, but would the Brad Pitt or Angelina Jolie of you put your life on hold while your ex, quote, figures it out? I want you to think about that for a second. Right? Yes or no? Okay, next question. Would the highest, and this is one of the biggest ones here, remember what I said, most people, even if you want to get your ex back, most people that come through my process, they don't even want them back. Here's a question you need to answer. Would the highest version of you even think about being in a monogamous relationship with someone who wasn't absolutely crazy about you? I want you to answer that one, okay? These are very simple answers, by the way, but they're answers you haven't thought about probably, because if you thought about them, you probably wouldn't be doing some of the things you're doing right now. And that's okay, because there's some inner mechanics in you that need to be addressed. And we're going to talk about that here. So here's my next question. Why are you here? Why do you need to get over your ex right now? What will it cost you if you do not move forward today? What will it cost you if you don't move forward over the next 30 days? Over the next 6 months? How will it benefit you if you move forward today? I mean, really move forward, by the way. We're going to talk about that here. But maybe for now, focus more on the cost. If you don't move forward, if you keep doing what you're doing, what are you going to continue to lose? Again, quantify this. You're going to lose some dates? You're going to lose some money? Are you on the verge of jeopardizing your job? What is this going to cost you? You need to be very real with yourself. And again, if I speak to you on the phone and you don't know these answers, I can't help you. You have to know how much money. You have to know how many dating opportunities, how much social stuff. Are your friends getting tired of you talking about this stuff over and over again? Are you losing friendships already? What is it going to cost you if you don't move forward today? Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about who I am. Since 2012, I've been the coaching and operations director for one of the most well-known dating sciences companies in the world. Individually, I have personally coached one-on-one over 1,000 men and women since that period of time. And my company as a whole has impacted, I kid you not, over 1 million men and women. If you're familiar with who we are and what we do and some of my coaching staff, you would know that that is not an exaggeration. So what I'm essentially telling you is I've really heard it all. There's nothing you're going to be able to tell me about your current situation, what you're dealing with, that I haven't heard before in some shape or form. So I'm bringing to you literally the tools to get yourself out of pain, back into power. And let me make this clear. I know exactly what it's like to be you because I was you. That is ultimately why you and I are having this conversation today. So let's talk about discovering the 5 shifts, okay? There are 5 key shifts you need to make if you want to take control of the 2 most valuable resources in your life. Now, you have a pen and paper, right? Write this down. Those 2 most valuable resources are energy and emotional states. If you're able to live in the resourceful emotions of love, joy, happiness, gratitude, 80 to 90% of every day, regardless of what happens, and your energy's high, regardless of what's happening, regardless of what stresses you're dealing with, you are the big winner of life. So I'm going to walk you through all 5 shifts on this session. So here comes the first shift, okay? Being happy is a skill. If you are right now dealing with immense pain, that is because you haven't trained your brain for this skill. The thing is, there's a conventional wisdom out there that tells you you're going to be happy when you accomplish your goals. That is not true. The truth is, no matter what you're going through today, every day has the potential to be the best day of your life. The problem is this: most people are oblivious to this power, and hence they're unable to free themselves from their emotional prison. All right, you guys ready for another group exercise? So take out that pen and paper. What I want you to write down is, what negative thoughts have hijacked your brain? When you think about how not good you're feeling on a daily basis, there are some thoughts behind that. What are you thinking? Do you think you're not good enough? Have you been told that relationships are too difficult, or men are bad, or women are bad, or what kind of negative programming, what kind of negative thoughts are you telling yourself day in and day out? Are you not good enough? What is it? Write that down, because it is that is ultimately the core of where the issue is. This is the programming that needs to be rewired, because brain cells that fire together wire together. So what negative thoughts have hijacked your brain? Write them down now. I'll give you about 30 more seconds. You can always come back to this later, but I really want you to do this activity, because this is going to help you understand why you're talking to me today. Now, as we start to close up on the benefits of learning the skill of happiness, let me be clear. It's not about being happy 100% of the time. That's impossible. You're a human being. You are going to feel the wide range of emotions. But the difference is you're going to learn how to refocus yourself to the more resourceful states 80 to 90% of the time. So it's not about being happy 100% of the time. But what if I could get you where you're feeling freaking amazing 80 to 90% of the day, every day, regardless of what happens or doesn't happen? How would that change your life? Now, when you think about this here, in your life right now, while you're not so happy, how's that affecting your job? Are you getting looked over for promotions? Are you on the verge of getting fired, perhaps? Have you had to take a leave of absence? That's because you're in an unresourceful state, because you don't have your thoughts in check. You don't have a process to rewire yourself from that unresourceful thinking to your power, okay? So what if you could feel incredible 80% of the time every day? How would that impact your life? How would that impact your health and wealth, your relationships with your family, your friends? And what would that be worth to you each day, okay? So shift 2 is not letting your brain fall asleep at the wheel, okay? Now, when you're first listening to me here, you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, what's this guy talking about? I'm talking about literally not letting your brain fall asleep at the wheel, realizing when you're not in the command of your own command center. The thing is, there's a conventional wisdom out there that tells you that time heals all wounds. That is total BS. The truth is, the reality is, it's not that time heals all wounds. It's a time heals an untrained brain. Because here's the thing, for most people, when they go through an emotional breakup, they spend an incredible amount of time in their head trying to figure out what went wrong, or engaged in draining as hell conversations that solve nothing. And what happens is, after these hour, 2 long, 3 hour long, dramatic conversations, maybe after all that, maybe that person internalizes maybe 0.5% of the lesson. So the illusion, if we're talking 0.5% each day, the illusion is it took 200 days to heal. But the reality is it took 200 days for your untrained brain to get the lesson. The reality is it took a long time to process those draining as hell conversations. And the truth is, getting over your ex doesn't have to be a slow and painful process. You can train your brain to accelerate the process to get the lesson that it's really over so you can finally move on. Now, we're going to talk about some more very basic examples so you can really see how much this has really impacted your life in a very real way. So let me give you an example here. Have you ever had an experience where you're driving and someone cut you off on the road? And when they cut you off the road, you're like, wow, what a piece of, or what an inconsiderate, oh my God, I can't believe he almost did that. You know, whatever it is you're thinking here, probably something very negative. And all of a sudden you can feel that anger, that frustration. You know, the problem is this. For many people, after that person leaves the road, where they're not even on the road anymore, that person who cut you off before, a lot of people still find themselves angry. And think how crazy it is. You're angry at someone who isn't even in front of you anymore, someone that you couldn't even confront even if you wanted to, right? So if you're still angry at someone who doesn't care about you, and you're angry at someone who you can't even confront, doesn't that sound kind of crazy? But it's not. It's actually you on autopilot. It's you living that same cycle of angry thoughts, angry feelings, right? Now watch this. I'm going to show you the difference between being on autopilot and taking back control of your command center. Now, if you live in Miami where I live, this happens all the time, right? It would be very easy to be angry all the time on the road if you allow that to be the case. But watch this. What if 30 minutes before that last time that guy cut you off on the road, which got you really mad, what if right before that happened, what if you found out you won $1 million tax-free? And then they cut you off. Do you think you'd give a crap about them anymore? You might even find yourself helping them to cut in front of you. You might even slow down so they can, go wherever they need to go. You'd probably be so happy you wouldn't even care. Now watch this. Difference between scenario 1 and scenario 2 is actually the same thing. It's still the same stimulus. It's still the same situation. The only difference is I've simply introduced a thought into your brain. And that thought, by creating this awareness or this thought in your brain, now you've retaken back control of your body. Now your brain is in control of your ship because the stimulus is exactly the same. So if you know the difference between scenario 1, where you just get angry and you're stewing even though the person isn't even in front of you anymore, versus when I simply introduce a thought and now that thought alone causes you to stay happy, you now know the difference between falling asleep at the wheel and being in command of your own command center. So here's another truth. If you've taken months or even years to get over a breakup, you are not in command of your ship. If you're still thinking about things that happened 6 months, 6 years ago that are way in the past, saying, wow, I wonder if I'd done this. I wonder if I'd done that. That is you on autopilot. Because think about it, that's crazy. You can't go back in time. For you to think about that and beat yourself up and get angry about something that happened 6 months or 6 years ago, that's crazy. But that's okay because you haven't been taught this awareness before. But that is you on autopilot. So here's my question for you. Again, you need to be very clear about what this is costing you. While you've been reviewing those scenarios from 6 months or 6 years ago, or what if, or can't believe they did that to me, whatever it is, on autopilot, how much time and money did you lose this week stewing in anger, rehearsing and obsessing over those negative thoughts and emotions? Write that down. So another group exercise here, okay? If you review your last week and you think about how much time you spent being angry, sad, or fearful because you're thinking, because remember, you're now becoming aware of your thoughts. You've been thinking about things that happened a long time ago and you've been on autopilot, right? I want you to think about how much, again, specific time you lost. So how many hours this week did you lose on autopilot? Thinking angry thoughts, angry feelings, in sadness, in fear. And what did this cost you? Financially, socially, you're not going out, you're not going on any dates, you're not spending time with your friends, or your friends not even want to spend time with you anymore because you just want to keep talking about the same scenarios. What is this costing you? Is it starting to have a really big impact on your health because you're just sitting there in those emotions of stress that are created by being on autopilot mode, by not being in control of your thoughts? And again, what is going to happen over the next 30 to 60 days if you don't do something about it? So here's the thing. Most people are asleep at the wheel and live their life on autopilot. Most people are in that vicious cycle, the same angry thoughts, same angry feelings. They're living in autopilot, oblivious to their power. And it is time for you to wake the hell up and realize that you know Kung Fu. I don't know if you recognize where this reference is coming from, but you are Neo, essentially, or Trinity. Don't forget how powerful you are. Don't allow yourself to go on autopilot and think that these thoughts you're having, that you can't do anything about it. You absolutely can. You don't have to get angry at the person who cuts you off on the road and stay there for hours on end or review scenarios that happened from 6 months or 6 years ago. That's you forgetting how powerful you are. Because we really do live in the matrix of emotions. So now you have a choice. You can either let the matrix or the emotional prison of the emotions of stress run you, or, and this is a way better or, by the way, you can run the matrix and live in a resourceful state of joy and happiness. You can let the body be the master and live on autopilot, oblivious to your power, or you can retake control of your mind and start bending and breaking the rules of what is possible. Now, just to come back full circle for a little bit here, remember, if you're looking to get over your ex, your power is in your energy. And if you're now recognizing how much time you're spending on autopilot, being angry, sad, and fearful, that's not helping you move forward. You need to become aware of this autopilot state that you've been in, because that's what's going to help you move forward. That is why you need to master this if you really want to move forward. Understand? So that is what needs to happen. So quick recap. Being happy is a skill. You can learn that skill. Right now, your thoughts are amok. You're just letting yourself go on autopilot, and you need to learn not to let your brain fall asleep at the wheel. Okay? So now we're going to talk about the final 3 shifts, or what I like to refer to as the 3 pillars. Remember, this is all about getting over your ex. So pillar 1, remember, people are attracted to those that are making things happen, right? Are you attracted to someone who just sits around moping all day, or is barely getting by in their business or work or job? No, you're attracted to people who are making things happen. So you need to learn shift number 3, or pillar number 1, the skill to inspire yourself every day, regardless of what happens. So here's the problem. There are conventional wisdoms out there that they tell you need to hope for inspiring moments, but that is complete BS. And I'm going to prove it to you. Have you ever found yourself about to go to sleep, but then out of nowhere, you have a thought that truly inspires you, and all of a sudden energy is just coursing through your veins, and you're like ready to work all night? Have you ever had an experience like that before? Has this ever happened to you? Here's my question. When that happened to you, where did that energy come from? Did it come from food? Did you eat something that night? Did it come from coffee? No. Did it come from doing a line of Coke in the parking lot? That's a joke, by the way. No. It came from thought and thought alone. It didn't come from some otherworldly source. It came from you. The problem is you've been taught that these are random events, but you can actually train your brain. You can wire and fire in new sequences so your brain is wired for inspiration. And remember, an inspiring person is an attractive person. Understand? So it is in your best interest to get yourself back out there and make things happen for yourself, and to understand that inspiration is indeed a skill. It is not something you hope for, okay? So I'll give you an example of this here, just to show you how you could, in theory, be inspired immediately, regardless of any kind of random acts of God, okay? So imagine tonight you had a lunch with Warren Buffett, right? Or not tonight, but tomorrow or whatever. You had a lunch with Warren Buffett. And he shared with you, because you're having lunch with him, a strategy that would allow you to make $1 million in 1 week. And when you heard it, you're like, wow, that's going to work. You just knew it. But it would require you to only sleep 3 or 4 hours a night. But again, you knew it would work. Do you think you'd find, quote unquote, the inspiration or motivation to stay up and only sleep 3 to 4 hours a night for the next 7 days? Hell yeah, you would, if you knew it would work. So inspiration comes from you. The problem is you haven't learned this skill. You haven't wired into your brain. But make no mistake, that is a skill you can learn, just like happiness. And people are attracted to those that are inspired and make things happen. Okay. Now we're going to move on. We're going to move kind of quickly here from this point, because these things are really, I'm changing your paradigm as far as what is possible. I'm also destroying conventional myths that you've heard for a long time that, quite frankly, aren't serving you. Now, this one is really key for a lot of people, especially if you notice the last several years, you keep repeating the same patterns. I speak to people all the time that recognize their relationships are like, again, on Groundhog Day. They're on their fourth breakup. It keeps happening the same way. They keep having the same problems. That's because they haven't mastered the most important communication skill, which is the communication you have with yourself. That is the communication you must master if you want to master life, period. Because if you aren't strong on the inside, you can't be strong on the outside. That's the bottom line. Most people communicate weakly with others because on the inside, they don't really believe in themselves. Because on the inside, their communication themselves is weak. Okay? So there's a conventional wisdom out there. They'll tell you to work on your communication skills with other people. Now, that's great. My company actually does a lot of that, which is fine. It's a good skill to learn for sure. But make no mistake, that is not going to solve the real underlying issue in your life. If you think over the last 6 months as you dealt with a breakup with your ex, you probably said or did a few things that you probably know you should not have done or said, and you know it. So take a second here. I want you to write down 2 or 3 things that you said or did with your ex that after you did it, you already knew you went in the wrong direction. Write that down right now, because that is the proof that your communication within yourself is weak, because the Brad Pitt or Angelina Jolie of you never would have said or did what you did. So that conventional wisdom, you need to work on your external communication skills. That's not going to solve the real underlying issues. That will not hold a candle to masterful communication with oneself. The communication you have with yourself is the most important communication you will ever have, you will ever learn, period. How you communicate with yourself is the real determining factor on how well you communicate with others, period. And guess what? Remember, we're talking about attracting people in your life or re-attracting your ex, whatever it is you're looking for. But people are attracted to those people who are truly strong on the inside, those people that know themselves, those people that are unshakable. And if you've noticed for the last several months, years, or whatever, you have not communicated in alignment with this strong self that you know you could be, that's because on the inside, you are weak. And it's just the truth. So that needs to be addressed immediately. Otherwise, you can look forward to more of the same over the next several months or years. Okay? Now, here's an important concept, by the way. This type of skill is not to be learned from a book or video. If you've been trying to learn from books or videos for months or years, that's also why you're here as well, because you haven't gone about things the right way. We're going to talk about that one in a little bit, but you need to start thinking of yourself as a pro athlete in a sport of life. And guess what? Pro athletes don't go to the local tennis pro if they want to come home with a Wimbledon trophy. And if that's how you've been going about things, well, that's why you're not winning in the level that you want to win. That's just the bottom line. So the conventional wisdom that people tell you to work on your communication skills with others, that's just not going to solve it. So here's a few questions for you. Does your life demonstrate a true belief in yourself? Are you taking the real actions of someone who's betting on you? Do you invest in yourself? Remember, you're trying to attract a new partner, or maybe the old one. I don't know. That's up to you. But being a successful risk taker is a very attractive quality. If people aren't stupid, if people see that you're not the kind of person who invests in you, real investments, not buying another freaking book. But if they don't see you're the kind of person that invests in yourself, that's why they don't want to invest in you. Why would anyone invest in you if you won't invest in you? Okay? So do your actions demonstrate yourself as someone who is truly strong on the inside, someone who walks the walk? So here's another group exercise for you. Ready? I'm going to do this one kind of quickly because we're running a little short on time. But what have you recently said to your ex that you instantly regretted? Write that one down. Once you come up with that, that is already showing you where there's some real inner work to be done. Another question. What actions have you taken that have resulted from weakness? What have you done that you know you shouldn't have done? Okay? And for how long have you been experiencing these communication issues with others due to fear, insecurity, anger, sadness? Have you noticed there's certain patterns you keep repeating with your communication with others? And here's another question for you, a very big one. When would it be a good time to address this issue? How about now? Does now sound like a good time to get some new tools and go about things a new way? Because your old way is not working. So now we're at the final shift, or pillar 3. You now have all this energy, right? You learned the skill of inspiration. You learned the skill of happiness. You're in these great resourceful states. You also learned how to become aware when you're going on autopilot, right? So you can retake back control of your ship. You're learning all these like incredible skills, that also including the internal communication skills that you can master, so you can master life and master communications with others. So you have all this energy, all these skills. Probably makes sense. The last thing you probably want to do at this point is allow people to take energy from you. Now, I'm not going to go too far in detail here, but a lot of people like to refer to these as energy stealers or energy vampires. This is a very real thing. Learning how to protect yourself from that is a system you're going to want to have in place, because you're doing all this work. Why would you want that to get stolen from you? So I'm just going to hit on one kind of quickly here, because for most people, they're going to want to work on the other pillars first, but I do want to definitely touch on this here. If you're explaining yourself to other people, especially people that really don't even have the advice to give you, they're people that themselves are having issues, right? If you're talking to friends of yours that have their own relationship issues and you're wasting your time getting advice from them or allowing them to give you advice, that is an energy drain. Why would you waste any energy listening to someone who has no idea what the hell they're talking about? And again, there's a lot of this stuff, but you need to have this mastered. You have to have a system in place to keep energy drains and energy vampires from sucking the life from you. Now, there's a conventional wisdom out there. Notice all these conventional wisdoms that don't serve you. There's a conventional wisdom out there that tells you you need to take care of others before taking care of yourself. But that is complete BS. And not only is it complete crap, but it's destroying your health. You must defend yourself from anyone who's trying to suck energy from you, even if they mean well. Think about it. If you're on a plane and you're about to take off, what do they tell you? They tell you if the air pressure drops and the gas masks fall, who do you put the mask on first? You put on yourself, because if you can't help yourself, you can't help others. If you don't have energy for yourself, you can't really help others. So make it your new decision that you're going to take care of yourself before you take care of other people. If you invest in yourself and give yourself the energy to move forward, you're going to have that much more to give others. Energy is life. If you have no energy, you're dead to create your dreams. You need to protect this, and you need to have a system to make sure that you have as much as you can to move forward. Remember, what is attractive to people? Energy, good attitude, resourcefulness, happiness, good communication. Every pillar that we have spoke about today is all about making yourself attractive, making yourself feel good, giving you energy to move forward, and make your dreams happen. This is the foundation for everything you're looking for, okay? Now, I would be doing you guys a serious disservice here if I didn't talk about how critical it is to invest in mentoring, invest in yourself. And remember, if you're not investing in yourself, then people aren't going to invest in you. You want to be attracted to others? Well, first thing you need to show is you're someone worth investing in by walking the walk, okay? So a mentor can be a one-stop shop and save you years of training and thousands of dollars. A great mentor has the knowledge to teach numerous courses from a true position of authority, and they can focus specifically on what you actually need for your specific situation. Because here's the thing, seminars are a one-size-fits-all approach. If you go to one, there is no guarantee you're going to get exactly what you're looking for. And they're very expensive. They're time-consuming. They require travel. And oftentimes they end with trying to sell you on a step number 2. Therefore, one great mentor, in my opinion, is worth over 1,000 seminars. Think about it. Just by coming on this webinar, you probably have a ton of new ideas and are excited for the future. And I haven't even gotten to speak to you. I haven't even gotten to hear your specific situation. I haven't even had the opportunity to rewire you with your new truths. Just think what that could do for you. And when I actually hear your story and I actually can realign you with what is real, I'm specifically focusing on you. Seminars don't do that. And we're going to talk right now about why, if you've been reading books, watching videos for a long time, thinking that's going to be your answer, you have another thing coming to you. The top performers in the world work with other top performers. They're not reading and watching their way to Wimbledon. Here's the thing. Books and videos don't talk back to you. They don't. So how do you know if you're implementing the strategies and techniques in the way the author meant? I mean, it's only when the person's right in front of you they could say, hey, Jennifer, John, no, actually, this is what I meant. You don't have that. That's why you've been spinning your wheels for a long time. Not to mention, you can't see yourself the way the world sees you. You know, a mentor can actually take one look at you and actually give you that course correction very, very quickly. Think about it this way. Remember, think of yourself as a professional sport of life. If you were a professional tennis player, it doesn't matter how many videos on tennis you watch. You think you can watch your way to Wimbledon? Doesn't matter how many books you read on mechanics and psychology. Dude, that's not going to hold a candle to actually work on a court with Andre Agassi, someone who's proven to get to the big show. When that person's in front of you, they could show you things in a matter of 30 seconds that you would never get from a book. For example, they could say, hey, Jim, Jennifer, I know exactly why you've never amounted to anything in tennis. Look at the way you're holding your grip. You probably would have never noticed this, but your grip is just 2 millimeters off. And with the way you're finishing your swing, you're finishing at 1 inch over your shoulders, but you need to finish it 2 inches over your shoulders. You can't see yourself the way the world sees you. You need a feedback mechanism. Think about it. Step in my common sense corner here. That's not the way the top performers in the world go about it. And if you're living in mediocrity, that's because you've been using mediocre solutions. So stop trying to read or watch your way to success. It will never happen. Books and videos don't offer the feedback mechanism that you need. The top performers, the top athletes, they're not reading, watching their ways to the big show. Only a true professional who has exactly, and by the way, let me be clear what a mentor is. A mentor is not someone who dabbles or someone who's kind of gotten like little bits of here and there. Like for example, if you're trying to create a business, like a social media marketing business, a mentor is not someone who's making $10,000 a month. That's not a real mentor. A real mentor is someone who's absolutely crushing it at the level you want to be at. Because the myth is to go from A to Z, you got to go from A to B to C to D to E to F. That's not true. You can go from A to Z in a rocket ship if you have the right mentor. So the right mentor in this case would be someone who has their own social media marketing company, and they're making tens of millions a year. They're crushing it. They're exactly where you want to be at the highest level. That's a real mentor. And if you're not doing that for yourself, well, quite simply put, that's also part of the reason why you're repeating these patterns. It's just not attractive. People are not attracted to those that don't invest in themselves. You know, you got to believe in yourself. You got to walk the walk. So forget everything else here that I've been telling you on why you're going to want to do everything I'm telling you here. But even just look at this one. If you've been just going about things in a kind of a half-baked sort of way for most of your life, that's why you've been living in mediocrity. And it's just the truth. So you need to get a mentor if you really want to knock this life out of the ballpark. The best mentors have already taken the courses you already need at the highest level, okay? Now, today I promised you a few things, okay? I promised you how to get over your X-within days. You got that. You have the 5-shift system. And I've given you an exact game plan on how to reinvigorate your dating and social life, how to get your confidence back, how to regain financial security by getting your energy back. Again, those 5 shifts, you know, energy is one of the main foundations of what's really going to push you forward. And very big one, how to reduce stress and get your health back on track. And of course, how to get the energy to push forward towards your goals and dreams. And you've also learned why these conventional wisdoms and the advice you've been given quite simply isn't working. I busted a ton of conventional wisdoms that quite frankly aren't serving you, and why you need to start thinking of yourself and acting as a professional athlete in the sport of life, okay? And I introduced you to daily practice via the 5 shifts that can energize you on command every day, even right now, even if you are right now living the emotional Groundhog Day of pain. So here's what you need to win. You need to learn the skill to make yourself happy. It is a skill, and it all starts with your thoughts. You need to learn the awareness of when your brain falls asleep at the wheel. You need to learn how to use the 3 pillars. Now, one of the main pillars there, again, that internal communication, that cannot be learned from a freaking book. Don't even try it. And again, if you've been dealing with this kind of crap and pain for years now, you go back to that same process, that same, I'm just going to read another book. Well, you'll be speaking to me in a few years after some more pain. And that's okay. If that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do. But you need to learn how to use those 3 pillars, and they simply can't be taught without a mentor. You need to learn the skill to inspire yourself every day, regardless of what happens. You need to learn how to communicate yourself, because that is a skill you must master if you want to master life. and you must learn the system to protect yourself from energy stealers no matter how guilty they try to make you feel. So you have a choice. You can either let the matrix or the emotional prison of the emotions of stress run you, or you can run the matrix and live in a resourceful state of joy and happiness. That's up to you. So here's how I can help. I have a skill or a system that you will not find anywhere. It is the best of the best that's out there. It includes my experience working in one of the most well-known dating science companies in the world. It's just quite simply put, if you really want to get over an ex and move forward, this is it. Okay, so here's how I can help. I have set aside some time over the next 48 hours to speak to you personally about how you can apply these practices in your life starting today. Whatever your biggest challenges are, I promise you, I have seen it, I have heard it before. And on this session, I'm going to help you craft a step-by-step game plan to get out of that emotional Groundhog Day of pain and take back control of your life. Now, the cost of this is absolutely free, but I am going to require a few things from you, and we're going to talk about this here. So this is who this is for. If this isn't you, don't make the call, don't make the appointment. This is for anyone who's tired of living in the emotions of anger and fear without an end in sight. This is for anyone who realizes how much this is costing them financially, spiritually, and socially. This is for anyone willing to take decisive action now. If your idea of a decisive action is reading another book, this call is definitely not for you, okay? So this is for anyone who's willing to show up and do the work. Think of this like a workout for your brain. The best personal trainer in the world can't just give you a workout and say, hey, here you go. They got to actually take you through the process. They'll take you to the gym, show you the exercises. It takes work. It takes discipline. You've got to be willing to do it. And this is for anyone who's tired of blaming and making excuses and is ready to take ownership of their life. If you're still blaming your ex, and when I speak to you, I'll prove this to you here, I guarantee you had an equal part of this pain you are currently living through. So if you're ready to stop blaming and take ownership of your life, chances are if you've been spending a little time here with me today, today's moment has been a long time coming. Different faces, different places, same situations, crappy endings. Let's give you a brand new trajectory on a new life. So here's where you're going to want to go. refocusonhappiness.com/now. refocusonhappiness.com/now. Now, very important. Once you fill out your time slot, and by the way, I highly recommend you get going with this as soon as possible. These fill up very fast. So once you fill out your time slot, you will be then forwarded to an application. You need to fill this out like your life depended upon it, because honestly, it's probably later than you think. Take this application very seriously. Just so you know, I'm only going to work with about 1 in 3 people I speak with, because I'm not going to work with you if I do not feel like it is just an obvious fit, like where your success is a done deal. I just don't have time for people that are 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So that application you fill out is my first glimpse of your work ethic. Have you had enough? I don't know how long it's been going on for, a year, 2 years. I mean, how many years of pain and just bad relationships have you had? So if you've had enough, take that application very seriously, because if you don't, clearly this is not going to be a fit. So again, refocusonhappiness.com/now. Glad to spend some time with you today.